Hey guys, welcome to Comic Freaks.
A show for all things comic book related.
I am Avi Flores.
And I am the best there is at what I do.
Ooh, boy, and what he does, I'm telling you. I'm just going to stop there because, we want to keep y'all. So, good thing though, we are going to dive into the 6 series, the 6, book thing where, you read it and you think about it. And 6 issues of awesomeness called Fatal Attraction. So, strap in, guys, because it's been a long time coming, and we're excited about this.
Fatal Attractions is a 6-issue series that spanned from the years 92, 93, that basically crossed over between all 6 X-Men titles at the time.
Absolutely, and for me, this was the first time I read this. And I'd say that the 2 things for me and that really stuck out was, well, one, I was obvious, was Magneto. Like, he was a big focal point. And 2, I guess, 2 was not Kitty. She was in the issues, but Magic and Colossus and Professor, like, there was this whole thing going on there. And Daniel also said Wolverine. Well, why do you think Wolverine? Why do you think he was a focal point? Because I didn't get that. So.
He's on the cover, bro.
So he was a focal point because he's on the cover. He's kind of on like 3 of them. So.
No.
I mean. But yeah, it was real. It was good for me because I knew a lot of the characters and a lot of them were brand new for me. I love X-Men, but I just don't have that much knowledge, like, to the extended universe. I mean, I grew up watching the animated series, and that is really what it based my fandom, I guess, on X-Men. So it was cool diving into this and seeing a lot of the, auxiliary and just the branched out characters that some of them I know, some of them I don't know. So we get into the first issue, which is an XFactor.
Yes.
What stood out to you in that one?
Well, what stood out to me really was just like the acolytes. So basically, this is post Magneto's death, which happened in X-Men issue 3. Read it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the acolytes are just going around killing humans in the name of Magneto.
Right.
And they
Magnus.
Right, Magnus, as they call him.
Yeah.
And they basically go out, try to get Quicksilver to take over Magneto's legacy. Really.
Yeah. So the acolytes, that's the first time I've heard of them. I never heard of them before. Obviously, Quicksilver, even before the movies, he's one of the X-Men characters that I know. So he was the focal point of this one. So it was interesting to see that whole, like Daniel was saying, them trying to recruit him to take over the acolytes. But Quicksilver really wasn't having any. He didn't want nothing to do with it. You could really tell just in that issue, without me reading any other comic, just reading that one issue alone, you could tell that Quicksilver just has issues with his dad. He does not like the guy. So we jump into the other one, and here's another well-known X-Men character that I know, which was this issue is X-Force. So what'd you think about this one?
Oh, I mean, you go from one slow book to another slow book. I mean, it's quite a slow start.
Yeah.
Like when you start reading it, but this one is basically Cable coming back from the time stream that he was trapped in, coming back to, I guess, like the young team that he left.
Yeah.
Basically just trying to not really gain the reins of leadership again, but more so just getting himself acquainted to the new leadership that was in place.
And not everybody, but I'd say for the most part, they were so excited to see him back. But then you get into the end of it, and Magneto shows himself, and it's like him and Cable go at it, and Cable just gets trashed. He even stand a chance. So it kind of picked up towards the end, action-wise. It wasn't just all story, which, I'm not saying the story was bad, but, when you just get all story, it feels kind of slow-paced. But like Daniel pointed out to me before as we were talking, they're just all build up to what's coming, and what's coming is not good.
Yeah, and another thing about the book is more a philosophical point of view, where Magneto's trying to recruit X-Force, to join him in Avalon or whatever he's calling it, and basically Cable just like going there rescuing them and just bringing them back home.
Yes, that's right. And then we get into the Uncanny XMen issue, which is where this really, really takes off. And I loved just seeing a side of Professor X where he's so torn. He sounds so defeated. Has a heavy heart because of an event that happened that got rid of that Magic died, and it sparked in me like I wanted to go read that issue to see what happened. Like that's how well written that was, and just that whole beginning part with Professor X was just so good. I loved reading that.
Like he's a father figure to all these X-Men,
Yeah.
Like how many X-Men has he like brought in, or even students to the school, and Ileana and Colossus, but also how like his whole dream just failed.
Absolutely.
And it's like I said, it's a whole different side of Professor X you don't see.
And I loved in the book when you open it up and it's like the funeral scene and you see all the X-Men. Like that was really cool. Just the picture of all of them together, that was really awesome, which leads right into...
All of a sudden, you have Colossus who just confronts Professor X and just, like, tells him how he failed him, how he failed his sister, and, and then Cyclops goes in there to, like, try to break it up, and who comes out of nowhere?
Dun, dun, dun!
Magneto.
Magnus himself comes down, and he's starting some stuff, and it was crazy, because he just, like, in the middle of a funeral... For someone who died, people are mourning, and he's just busting on the scene. And the X-Men are like ready to throw down. Like they're okay, it's about to go down, but they really don't get a chance to.
All right, so Magneto, this isn't like your typical Magneto.
Yeah.
He's like super. He's a beast. Like the X-Men are trying to move, trying to fight, but he's basically holding them down.
That was crazy, yeah.
Just from the iron in their blood, and they can't even move.
They weren't able to do anything.
Yeah, and then, just lashing words back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bishop. You see the beastie side that, the Bishop has, where he has a passive ability that basically absorbs, all the energy around him. He just basically breaks through and just unleashes on Magneto.
So Professor X is just that we have to stop this guy in his reign of terror because we've had enough. He knows this guy, what he's capable of, so he's like, we have to get together, plan, and do something about this.
Yeah, so taking off from there, like he just like starts building teams. It's like 3 different teams, so that he builds to go up fight Magneto. And the crazy thing is, like the teams he's built, like he doesn't plan on coming back.
Right.
Like he only takes like, I guess the people who have skills, not really energy, based powers, but he leaves Cyclops, Storm, and like
all the leaders.
All the leaders and a bunch of the originals, just to carry on the dream.
Absolutely. So it was cool seeing him get in this suit and actually walk, and him saying that he's using his like psychic ability powers with his mind, and it's draining him. I was like, what the heck is going on, dude? So Professor X again, like just as the issues were going on here, I'm reading more and more. I was like, man, this dude's like ridiculous. I just love how just showing so many different sides of him in like 2 issues. Reading through this, you're getting so many different angles and all this stuff from him, and then you get Jean Grey like, I don't know if we should do this and blah blah blah, and then they get up into space and he's like, shut up woman, just do what I say, and putting his foot down. When Jean Grey was seeing him starting to do these things, she was really like, whoa, what's going on here, Professor? Why are you acting this way? Why are you doing this? But then they get into the fight with Magneto, and they're just going all out, which it was crazy, man. There was so much going on.
You got Gambit, like, just, throwing his thing, getting Magneto off balance, and then out of nowhere, Quicksilver uppercutting his dad in the face, dude. Like, what is this nonsense?
He took advantage when he could. So it was cool, and then you have Professor X and Jean, on the psychic mental part of it, when they're in there really trying to do the real damage, because physically, I mean, that's just more of a distraction than anything. They're really trying to get in there, and that's when you really see Jean Grey like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? I don't like this. And you see the struggle. Well, not even. I don't think Professor X was really struggling at that point. I think he really had his mind like, we need to do this. Which I have no problem with. Like that's one thing that we talk here with the guys. A conversation that we have is, I have no problem with superheroes having to take that step, and if they have to kill somebody, they have to do it. I mean, I know that's kind of like almost taboo, where most superheroes, they won't cross that line. But I think there's necessary evils where you need to, and I think for Magneto, he's definitely one of those where you have to do it. I mean, just seeing what he was capable of in the previous issue,
right?
If you off him, do it, man. And Professor X had the opportunity to do it there, but I think that's maybe where his heart kind of comes through because that is his friend,
right? And yeah, like he's trying to take away like, I guess the memories,
right?
That I don't know that produced the most pain in him, like all the hatred and anger from him, just to like create some peace.
Mm-hmm.
And like throughout all that, like Wolverine finds an opening.
Yeah.
And like just stabs him for like the first time ever.
Yeah.
And I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, they totally. Professor X did what he did, and Wolverine comes in the clutch, doing what he does best. Ripping things, stabbing them. So they immobilize him, they take him, and he's like no longer the Magneto, the menace. He's kind of like this empty person, and they get away. I mean, they don't get away safely, but but they get away. And then in the Wolverine issue, which is the one to follow, is like they're basically crash landing, on Earth, and Wolverine's like a mangled mess. And there's craziness going on in the ship. People don't know how to control it. Then you're getting stuff down from below, and there's so much going on. I think that moment right there was probably like the most intense of everything for me, just because of all the different things that were going on all at once.
Yeah. So basically, Wolverine's a mess from the aftermath with Magneto. Magneto basically ripping the adamantium skeleton off his bones. You got Jean Grey not only trying to calm Wolverine down, but like basically suppressing his mind so he doesn't feel pain, trying to keep the ship together.
Yeah.
Like Bishop trying to fly this thing. Like it's just everybody yelling across the ship and nothing's going right.
Exactly. It was so much going on, and then like I said, people down on Earth trying to figure out what's going on, but they stabilized Wolverine. They weren't sure if his healing factor was gonna really kick in enough to bring him back from such hurt. Like he was shredded, man. He was like a slop of human flesh. But he does. They wrap him up. They heal him. Jean Grey does her thing, and he doesn't have that adamantium anymore. They get back safely to Earth. But the cool thing that they revealed in this issue.
Yeah. So Wolverine's basically you know how Wolverine is, like he's not gonna back down from anything. So he goes in the danger room.
Yep.
He wants to do this. Everybody's telling Professor X, shut down, like shut it down, shut it down. And Wolverine's like, no, I got this. And all of a sudden, like he whips out his claws and it's just like bone. He's like screaming in agony and just blood gushing everywhere.
Yeah.
So and it's the first time where like everybody just realizes that his claws were actually he was born with them and it's made out of bone.
Which, so they basically had the victory, and Magneto was out there trying to gather himself, and that's kind of how that issue ends. And then we get into the Excalibur episode, which is kind of, I mean, it's still tied to the story because it deals more with Colossus, but it's like Daniel said, more setting it up for what's coming. And I love the Nightcrawler was in it, like that. I love seeing him in it. So how'd you feel about that? Like what was the ending? Could they have ended it right there with the Wolverine issue, or how'd you feel about the Excalibur?
I think they could have ended it with Wolverine because like at the end of Wolverine, like you see how he makes his decision to like just leave the X-Men because he's not himself. Jubilee's
all heartbroken.
Yeah, and he's basically on a new journey, like trying to find himself as a person and like where his place in the world is now. So it's like I think it could have been a perfect ending instead of like they could have used a totally different issue to like bring Colossus back or whatever it was. But, and
I just enjoyed the 6 issues. It was an awesome read. Like it started slow, ended slow, or weird, not really slow, just kind of, it was a weird outro to the whole aftermath of what was going on. But it did tie it in with the whole Colossus and Ileana thing. So I enjoyed all 6 episodes, issues. I think the X-Men one, where you see Professor in his prime just kind of getting the suit on, going up in space with the team and fighting it out. I think that was my favorite issue of them all. But I did enjoy the the one before it with the funeral and the one after it where they were trying to heal Wolverine. Like those 3 was really the meat of it. Yeah. But the 6 of them overall were a great read, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. Me, I'll put the X-Men one and the Wolverine one like as basically my favorite. I mean, yeah, you got Magneto coming back, but yeah, I think like the crucial like pieces were in like X-Men and the Wolverine one.
Absolutely. So
for sure.
I mean, I think it's a must read if you're an X-Men fan, any fan, no matter which ones are your favorites. Like it was a good bringing together of many different X-Men from across all the different titles, and there was even some cameos that Daniel was telling me about that I totally had forgot about. So it was cool seeing all these different X-Men and Marvel characters. So I think it was a damn good series. If I had to give it a rating, it's real tough because I really enjoyed it, even though like the first and the last issues were the weaker ones. Oof. Are we doing decimals?
Hey, you can give it whatever.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I really enjoyed this a lot. I was lost in some of it, but that's not the issue's fault. It's more so just my own knowledge and understanding of the expanded universe and all the other characters and storylines that are going on. But for the most part, I was with it every episode. I knew exactly what was going on, the details, the writing. I mean, the drawings, the imagery, everything. It was awesome. I loved it. I'd read it again, and I highly recommend it. So 8.5 for me. That's what I give it out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8.25.
8.25.
I mean, it was really good,
yeah.
And I mean, I'm biased when it comes to X-Men, but I mean, it was fantastic. Like I said, slow start, weird ending. But I think it was good writing overall. Good artwork.
Yeah, and the covers are pretty wicked. They're like these hollow...
These wraparound covers with holograms on them.
Yeah, they're really cool, awesome. Really cool issues. So we highly recommend it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go out, read it. Let us know what you guys think of these 6 issues. Fatal Attractions. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching our episode.
Yeah, if you liked our video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up.
And if you didn't, you can double click on the thumbs down. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, and like.
Right on. And check us out on our other social media outlets at Instagram and Twitter. And please tweet us at FF Media News.
Or you can engage with us through our email at ffmedianews@gmail.com.
All right. Thanks, guys.